looking at me.
Hey, what's up guys? How are you doing today? Welcome back into another reaction video. Mr. Avenger here. I'm doing alright so far. Just worn out from work, but it was not that bad though. And watching Nemo Feel that was live this morning, that made my day even better. And yeah, the sky was turning gray and it definitely looked like it's about to rain, but nevertheless, so I am aware that there is going to be a new single that's coming out very soon, and that they will be having their second anniversary streaming live this coming month, so I will do my best to leave the information and the link of the website where you purchase the tickets, and which I'm going to do the same as well. So other than that, I think I slept long enough, and it's time to get back on the grind because I got a new request from Shadow, and this is from WrestleMania, and which that I watch most of the times. So there's a clip that involves with Mr. Mark Calloway, aka Undertaker, and the title is called 10 of the Funniest and Famous Undertaker Fails. So let's take a look at this, and without further ado, it's time to react.
Now come on. Let's be fair, The Undertaker is one of the greatest superstars to ever lace up a pair of wrestling boots.
Absolutely.
He spent 30 years in the WWE as the Phenom, the Dead Man, the Lord of the Darkness, and in turn became one of the most successful characters of all time. Although The Undertaker has been praised endlessly for his character work and match quality, even The Undertaker is prone to be involved in a fail from time to time. But which times were they? Well, join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 of the funniest and most memorable Undertaker fails of all time. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10, The Undertaker drops Al Phillips right on his head. Now, The Undertaker's Tombstone Piledriver finishing move was a perfect finishing move for The Undertaker, and he was the guy that made the move famous.
Yeah.
However, when he started doing the move, there were a few times where he would mishandle the superstar and drop them right on their head, being a little bit too stiff with the spike. This was the case in late 1991 when The Undertaker had a match with Al Phillips on Superstars. Taker executed a Tombstone Piledriver but managed to spike Phillips right on his head. The impact was so severe that Phillips' back appeared to have spasmed. And there was deep concern for his welfare, especially from Vince McMahon on commentary, who let out an audible curse word following the move. It seems that Phillips was okay though after the match. Number 9, welcome to WrestleTool.
Just like the 16 that come before you. At WrestleMania 25.
The build towards The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels'
slipped his
classic
line.
match at WrestleMania 25 consisted of a number of notable segments. However, there was a promo exchange between the two legends that unfortunately resulted in a number of hilarious mistakes. The Undertaker's promo ability has never been discussed in depth over the years. However, for the majority of his career, he has cut promos as a dead man persona, and this naturally means he has a different promo style compared to most superstars on the roster. Now, for this specific promo, the material was quite simple, but The Undertaker would stutter on a number of words and was unable to say WrestleMania. Instead, he said WrestleTool in quite a humorous slip-up for the former WWE champion.
WrestleTool.
Number 8, The Undertaker doesn't know what date WrestleMania 28 is. The Undertaker not being able to pronounce WrestleMania wasn't the last time that he would flub up a promo segment with HBK. 3 years later, during the build to The Undertaker vs Triple H's Hell in a Cell encounter at WrestleMania 28, The Undertaker would inform HBK in a promo that on April 21st, their destiny will happen.
And on April 21st, that destiny.
Now the problem was that the
I'm feeling good. So good. I just thought you should know.
Undertaker got the date wrong for WrestleMania. In fact, WrestleMania was set to take place on April 1st, so the dead man just clearly got his dates mixed up. Maybe
Whoops.
it was an April Fool's. Number 7, The Undertaker punches nobody. During the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, it was common practice for superstars to have fun with the crowd. This ranged from fun and engaging matches to extended promo segments which involved superstars breaking character. Now, without a doubt, the most famous of these was the time Booker T attempted to get The Undertaker to perform a Spinneroonie after Raw. This was the hilarious segment which even involved Vince McMahon attempting the move, and he didn't do too badly.
I vaguely remember seeing that.
This segment also featured a fail which involved The Undertaker punching thin air. The villainous group known as the Un-Americans interrupted the segment before the babyfaces in the ring took them out. The segment would cut to The Undertaker punching an individual through the ring ropes, but it actually looked like there was nobody there, meaning Taker was just punching thin air. Or maybe he was hitting John Cena, who knows. Number 6, The Undertaker's attire malfunction. Now, The Undertaker wore an iconic hat as part of his entrance for the majority of his run as the Dead Man. However, there was a short period where The Undertaker would ditch the hat in favour of a hooded trench coat. This alternative entrance attire for the Dead Man would make an appearance at the Raw 1000 show and would stand side by side with his brother Kane, and the duo would fight a number of heels together. And although the segment was a lot of fun, it did feature a somewhat hilarious attire malfunction for The Undertaker. When Taker went to flick his hood off during his entrance, his hood decided to remain stuck on his head, meaning he had to awkwardly mess around with the hood to try and get it off. Number 5, The Undertaker misses a big boot on John Cena. WrestleMania 34 would act as the redemption match for The Undertaker, as the year prior he was supposed to wrestle his last match ever. However, the match with Roman Reigns wasn't up to the quality that fans and Taker himself wanted. And this led to The Undertaker coming out of retirement for a high-profile match with John Cena. The match itself was a squash match and was done to show fans that Taker still had it in him. Although the match was only 3 minutes in length, this didn't mean that the match was absent from any fails. As Taker would go for a trademark big boot on Cena, he didn't come close to hitting it and missed Cena's face by a good mile. Cena sold a big boot anyway, and The Undertaker quickly realized that the fail could have altered the perception of the match, so he quickly transitioned into the next spot. Thankfully for Taker, fans quickly forgot about the aforementioned fail, as the match was pretty crap. Number 4, The Undertaker's bike stalls. In the year 2000, The Undertaker made the biggest risk of his career. He decided to drop the Dead Man persona in favor of the American Badass character.
Now that I do remember that persona.
The darker elements of the prior persona, and he would be a much more accessible character for the audience. The risk paid off, and the character was widely popular with fans of all ages, and it was so popular that Taker decided to bring the character back for his final match with AJ Styles at WrestleMania 36. One of the things that made the character so special was he would ride to the ring on a motorcycle, but this didn't always go smoothly. Take for instance the Vengeance pay-per-view in 2003. Taker was set to face John Cena, and unfortunately his bike stalled, meaning he had to awkwardly get off his bike and walk to the ring. It was hilarious, but no doubt embarrassing for Taker. Number 3, The Undertaker drops Goldberg on his head. Considered to be a dream match to many WWE fans, when Goldberg and The Undertaker collided in 2019, it was a long time coming. However, the match was a complete disaster and is now cited as the worst match of both superstars' respective careers. There were a number of rather unfortunate mistakes in the match, including Goldberg dropping the Dead Man right on his head following a jackhammer. However, this wasn't the only time that the two men were dropped right on their head. When Taker went for a tombstone on Goldberg, he somehow dropped the former world champion right on his head. Luckily, Goldberg didn't appear to be hurt from the spot, but a near 300-pound man being dropped on his head could have had fatal consequences.
It's just like, wow, that was really close to being catastrophic.
Number 2, The Undertaker vs Roman Reigns' WrestleMania 33 main event. Now, as we've already mentioned in this video, The Undertaker's match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 33 was initially intended to be Taker's last match ever. Sadly, the match fell apart and it featured a version of The Undertaker that simply couldn't hang with Reigns. As a result, there were a number of notable mistakes in the match, and one that fans infamously remember relates to when Reigns was supposed to counter a tombstone attempt from The Undertaker in his own version of the tombstone. Sadly though, Taker was far too exhausted to do this, and was unable to flip himself in order for Reigns to easily lift him into position. After a number of attempts, the spot was completely abandoned, and the two men quickly improvised and transitioned into the next planned spot in the match. And number 1, The Undertaker's dive at WrestleMania 25. Considered by many to be the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, the showdown between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25 was epic in every sense of the word. Now, although the match quality was undeniable, it did feature a mistake that could have resulted in a serious injury for the Dead Man. The Undertaker went for a dive to the outside, and the planned spot was to have him involve the cameraman capturing him so that Taker would have a safe and secure landing. However, the cameraman failed to catch The Undertaker, meaning he nearly landed on his head.
Oh, Jesus.
It was incredibly fortunate that Taker didn't suffer some kind of serious head or neck injury, but according to Taker, the referee was directed to call the match as a shoot. meaning if Taker failed to get in the ring following the mistake, he would have been counted out and HBK would have broken the streak via count-out victory. But there you have it, folks. 10 of The Undertaker's funniest fails. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
Ay, 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 ay. That last one, Jesus. I mean, look, take it to the blow to the head that will instantly give you a hell of a concussion. You know, it is a miracle how he is still standing, and if he didn't, then he wouldn't be alive and live to tell of all of his tales of one of his greatest moments and his epic fails that he ever explained in a documentary series. Jesus Christ! I mean, even Goldberg is still breathing after that tombstone that he slipped up and that really almost could have damaged his brain. Oh man, you know, sometimes in the world of professional wrestling, yeah, the term of this is that you gotta be professional when it comes to pull off your signature moves, and if you make one fatal mistake like that, that not only that's gonna hurt yourself, but to your opponent, because you're trying your best not to want to do too much damage over ice that it could be fatal. Ay, 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 ay. This is just... And how about Wrestle Duel? I mean, yikes. And truth be told, that I have seen a couple of superstars that slip up their lines, like Randy Orton. I'm sorry, man, but I am being for real with this, because how many times often do I hear him that slip up his words over and over? Yeah, it's tough to try to, you know, to try to get the words and that you get struggle. I mean, take it from me, because I'm used to this kind of thing, and that's just I was born with it. But I try as I can to try to slow myself down and try to say what I want to say. But holy shit, man, bless this man. I will say to this one. So I'm just, you know, in the sake of that, you know, it's good that he retires and wanted to, you know, to rest his body, because I mean, if he actually does compete one more time, I think that he will get exhausted even much more. So, yeah, that's all I just wanted to say for this one. Shadow, thank you for showing this clip, and there are some memories that I've seen from the early days of the Attitude Era, which is, I'm talking about the American Badass and Evil Dead Inc. Those were the most of the memorable moments that I watched. That was like years ago. Well, that's going to be it for right now. So there are a couple of requests I'm still going to be working on. But for now, if you guys enjoy this, and if so, just punch those likes and also leave your comments down below, and I will catch y'all in the next video. So take care, guys, and be safe.